What's going on, AIM Squad?
Yes, what's going on? Welcome back.
We are back for the second half of Week 10 football.
Oh, what a game we had on Thursday.
Yo, we called it. It was going to be a shootout.
We did.
The over-under was 53.5, and it went over.
Oh, ridiculously over.
It wasn't even close.
It wasn't even, at all close. Quarterbacks had a field day. They both threw for 4
It was
touchdowns.
nuts. Yeah.
And then both running backs, respectively, also got a touchdown, too.
Yeah.
It just
No kicks.
no kicks whatsoever.
No field goals. No it was just crazy.
It was just points. What you can do, we can do better, or we can match it. And it was for the division.
And honestly, it was a fun matchup.
It was good football.
It honestly was.
You know, yeah, refs may have missed a couple of calls, but at the end of the day, that football game was a really, really good. I enjoyed it.
It was. I mean, you had the face calls, the face masks at the end that were kind of missed.
Mm-hmm.
But man, Burrows and Jamar Chase were having a field day.
They put on a show.
Zay Flowers, I know was kind of quiet, but Lamar was throwing. He was throwing to everybody.
Yeah, he said, "Yo, I'm here. I'm MVP caliber. Don't mess with me." But we had a good game. Baltimore came up on top, one by one. We'll get into that a little bit, later on in this podcast here on what happened in the game and break it down. But yes, going into Thursday, which is currently my day, I'm 6-3. My brother here went in 2-7. Thursdays are not really good for my brother over here, but we try to turn things around.
We did,
and it's just the same pattern followed.
It did. Thursday curse continues for me.
Yeah, just
because though the Ravens won, they didn't cover. So Alnoor, you covered the +6.
Yep.
I called the -6. So unfortunately, I didn't hit. But before we get into our updated records, I think I could have hit, or at least push.
We could have pushed
had it not been for that call at the very end.
100%. That call would have been big for us too. That call and them going for 2 points.
Yeah.
Why not just kick the extra point, go to overtime? I understand you. We've seen teams in NFL are afraid of going to overtime recently.
Yes.
And I don't understand why. But the most recent one, we had Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes just last week.
Yeah.
It went to overtime. Baker Mayfield lost the coin toss. You could see he's like, "Oh, this game's over," because a touchdown wins the game.
It does.
But now if Baltimore had won the toss, sure, you play defense. Baltimore wins the game. You would have got a push. It would have been 6. If not, it would have been a field goal game. With the field goal game happening and a couple other stops, we could have, had some fun in another part of our podcast that we do, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But that 2-point conversion just I don't know.
It just seems so unnecessary.
Me personally, I understand. I like the aggressiveness by them, but in a division game where you need the W and you already took a loss to them, going into overtime the last time you guys played, went back and forth, had a chance to win the game. You fumble the football, Baltimore comes back, wins the game by 3, and now you want to be the aggressor and go for 2. Me personally, kick the extra point, go to overtime, test your luck there.
I agree.
You never know. The game could have ended in a tie.
I agree.
And a tie would have been so much more better than a loss.
Significantly more better. And honestly, the first time they were coming up to that 2-point, they were running on the play clock. I was like, okay, what are they doing? What are they doing? And when the play clock ran to 0, I was like, clever, Burrow. You're trying to get them to come offside. I get it. I appreciate that. But then when we saw them after the timeout go back to the line,
and
I was
it's just like, why?
Why? What are you doing? It was such a poor call. I get it. We talked about it. Probably missed face masks for sure. I get that. But the 2-point extra conversion was not necessary.
I think it wasn't.
Absolutely was not necessary. You could have easily done an overtime. What if the Bengals actually won the coin toss?
Yeah, we wouldn't know.
We wouldn't know now.
They wouldn't know either. Nobody would know.
And that's exactly it. At that point in time, folks, it makes sense to actually do the extra point. It was such a bad call. I get it. Some of the old heads of football are saying, go for it, whatever. The reality of it is that you need to go 1 foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
You can't be going against a hard defense like the Ravens at the goal line. There's no way that makes any sense. So
plus, it's not even like they had a bad kicker. You have McPherson, who's
Mr.
Automatic.
Oh, my God.
Get the extra point,
That's
go win the coin toss, and go get another kick off it. But hey, it didn't come out as it was planned. So I covered the spread here. Irshad took the loss. The curse is there.
That's it.
Which leads us to our new records. Irshad, tell them our new records.
So Thursday's your day, Alnoor. You got 7-3, man. You're doing crazy well. The curse for me continues, unfortunately. I'm 2-8. But for every record of TNF and any segment we do, we like to do our trending bets and our parlays and our fantasy. So let's get into it.
Let's just get into it. Trending bet
was our anytime touchdown, Derrick Henry.
King Henry. Like, he's Mr. Automatic. He finds the
He hit.
paint.
Yep.
He hit. Like, that's easy.
Easy
With Lamar
money.
Jackson there, you know Derrick Henry's gonna get the football in the back.
Yeah.
He's gonna run it in, and
We
easy.
hit. Yeah, we hit. We ate. I mean, easy money.
Right, that was it. Let's move on to
That's
our...
it. King Henry, period.
Yeah,
Next.
that's it.
Period. Move on to our fantasy.
Yes.
Now, in this case, we always try to pick the best position of between the two.
Yeah.
So we had Joe Burrow. He actually did do a little bit better than Lamar, though Lamar did really well.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow still came on top, so that counts as a hit.
Perfect.
Henry, we know what he's capable of.
Yeah.
He was the pick regardless, but the running back in the Bengals actually did.
In that first drive,
In
he
that
went
first
out,
drive?
got the touchdown, and then they kept feeding him here and there, and he just got chopped up a few yards, got more points than Henry in fantasy. But hey, we'll take that one.
That's it. I mean, we wouldn't have changed that. I
I don't think anybody would have taken Brown over Henry, so we'll take that one.
We'll take that loss. Jamar Chase, we called it.
Like him and Burrow, they put on a show. We knew that it was going to be them two. Even if Cincinnati has a chance to win the game, like in fantasy, how many did he come up with? Like 50-something fantasy points?
55.6 points.
Yeah, like that is ridiculous.
He caught for 264 and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
that is unreal.
Like that's quarterback numbers.
That is quarterback
of throwing,
numbers.
not even that's quarterback numbers of just throwing.
And he was catching these.
Yeah.
This is nuts.
Nuts. Like,
so Jamar Chase, bar none, best receiver.
And then we had Gesicki at our tight end, which hey, listen, the Burrow Chase connection was there. Gesicki didn't really need to be there.
He didn't have to be.
He was there, had a couple of blocks, but fantasy purposes didn't help us.
Yeah.
So that was a no right there.
Took a late L there.
That took an L there. And then we had the Ravens defense.
Now the Ravens defense and the Bengals.
One.
This was an interesting one because both defenses got lit up. So on ESPN, they actually both had negative scores.
Mm-hmm.
It was horrible. I mean, look at the score. But Ravens actually did worse than the Bengals.
Correct.
Ravens were -1 for their defense. Bengals were -4. So technically, we hit.
We hit.
We picked the better of the two defenses.
Correct.
So there you go. And our last thing
was McPherson, who should have hit the extra point.
Should have hit that.
But there was no field goals in this game. Tucker just came on, had his extra points, did his thing. But McPherson came on and, got a couple more fantasy points. I think they almost got the same amount of points.
Yeah, I mean, it was right there. McPherson just, I think, came out a little bit ahead.
Yeah, because of the yardage that he kicked it from or whatever, because it's all extra points. But yeah, so leads us to 4 out of 6.
And that's it. So, I mean, we passed half. I mean, we'll go 6 out of 6, but
yeah,
we got more majority, so there we go.
So which leads us to our 3-leg parlay.
Now, 3-leg parlay was interesting.
This is really interesting.
So, we had 3 legs.
Yep.
We'll start off with the one that, probably a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Which was Rashad Bateman.
He did.
2+ catches.
Yeah.
He hit. Period.
Did he just have 2 catches?
I think he had 2 catches, maybe even 3.
I believe because that second catch was what we were looking for, and we found the end zone, and we were like, "Oh, hey, he found the end zone."
No, actually, Rashad Bateman finished up with 6.
Oh, wow,
6 catches. So he beat it bar none.
Bar none, perfect.
So that was good. So that was a clean hit. Now
this is where the game took a turn.
Yes,
as you heard, my brother and I were saying that extra point changed a lot. Not only just a spread, but also for our 3-leg parlay.
Yes,
we had over 4.5 sacks here. The game ended with 3 sacks. If the game went to overtime, we would need 2 sacks, 1 from each side, which was doable.
Because the defense would have been extra alert,
which is doable. But then so we took a loss there. But then the last leg is where we felt that this was going to be a close game than it should have, but not in a touchdown way. It was going to be more of a field goal game, and we had over 2.5 field goals made in the entire game.
Yeah.
Now, me and my brother were having this conversation earlier, and we said, if the game went to overtime, the game doesn't end in a touchdown. So the game ends in a touchdown, not in a field goal. We could have had 2 sacks in overtime, 1 from each team. Both teams could have actually kicked a field goal each, and then they would have had a game-winning field goal, which would have hit our 3-leg parlay. But because of that extra point where they went for 2, just busted everything for us.
Yeah.
And there was an if, yes, it was possible, but we will never know if it's good, if it was or not.
We'd never know.
Never know.
That was a bad call.
That was a really bad call. Turned our parlay away. I don't know. It was a disgusting call. I didn't like it personally myself.
Yeah.
Kicked the extra point with McPherson. But yeah, we had a 3-leg parlay there. That was 3.4 times your unit. We went 1 for 3. That's okay. We'll take it to the chin there. We're just gonna come back stronger because I think the one we have for this week,
this was
Sunday, I think it's a lot better, and I feel good about it.
Yeah.
And you know when I feel good about our parlays,
they hit.
They hit.
So tune in because we're gonna get into that right into the segment here.
There we go.
Later this episode. But let's move on to Sunday night.
Sunday nights are your night, Sean.
That's it.
You're really, they like you on Sundays. They say Thursdays,
Not so much, but
Not
I make
so
it up
much.
on Sundays.
There you do.
So coming into it, and to kind of validate that, our records coming into Sundays,
Yeah.
I'm 14, 10, and 3.
Yep.
Alnoor, you're 10, 14, and 3.
Yep.
But our goal here is, of course, to get above 500. But Sundays just like me a little bit better.
That's it.
I mean, Thursdays hate me. But without further ado, we shared some of our games of interest. Now let's get it started, folks.
Mm-hmm.
So our first official game of the week.
First window.
So
it's nice. You got to, get your popcorn ready.
There you go. It's a same conference game, different division.
Yep.
So cross-division game here. It is between NFC West and NFC South. But the big news line for this game is the return of Christian McCaffrey.
Yes.
So we have the San Francisco 49ers against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with the 49ers favored currently at -6.5. So, Alnoor, let me throw it to you first, brother. What are your thoughts? What's your call? Why? What do you think cMAC, the impact of cMAC? Let the crowd know.
Let's get it started here. cMAC comes back. That 49ers team is hungry. Just his presence of him on the field, the 49ers are a totally different team. Everybody's on the same page. Everybody's hungry. Before I even get to my stats and why I like what pick I'm taking San Francisco to cover the spread here, -6.5.
Yeah.
I feel with CMC, like I said, he's going to come out. He's going to find the paint. They're going to feed him the ball. And if you look at it, Deebo Samuel's questionable. So he may not play.
Yeah.
Yes, you have Kittle. You have Mason. You're going to get Juan Jennings back this week, which is another wide receiver who's been out for a couple of weeks. Sure.
Yeah.
But the focal point of this team and everybody is McCaffrey. And he's just going to have a workhorse. He's going to kick some ass.
Yeah.
He's going to come out hungry, upset, pissed, happy, sad. Like all those emotions to come out. He's going to lay it on the field. And they're going to go out and show Tampa Bay why San Francisco is still a Super Bowl contending team.
Yep.
You look on the other side too with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, put on a show against Kansas City. They covered the spread. They did. They played with no wide receivers, no Godwin, no Evans. You have Otten, you have Sterling Shepard, you have Palmer, you have wide receivers that are like bottom tier, and they're still putting on a show. Yes, but I think San Francisco coming off a bye, they're prepared for this game.
Yeah.
They're really prepared. They look at how Kansas City was covering them, what schemes Kansas City did, because their goal right now is to beat Kansas City.
Yeah.
And to beat Kansas City, you need to see how they play and where their gray area is and how they're beating teams. So they're going to come on and beating teams. And if you look at another standpoint too, teams coming off a bye, and as a road favorite, they're like 70, 52, and 3 off the spread, like against the spread.
Right.
And if just San Francisco shows that. It matches San Francisco's style of play. It matches everything that they do, right? They are 76, 50, and 4 against the spread since 2004.
Road favorites.
Coming off a bye. So you're looking at a 60% chance of them covering the spread, which is Tampa Bay team that's depleted. They just haven't found their identity after losing Godwin and Evans.
Yeah.
Teams know, hey, listen, we're just gonna let Baker Mayfield throw the football. We're gonna attack him.
Yeah.
And let him beat us with his arm. And saying that, I think the San Francisco defense is lethal.
Oh yeah.
I think Baker Mayfield's gonna get picked off this game.
Yeah.
Maybe twice, to be honest with you, just throwing out there.
Yeah.
Because San Francisco will come out and say, hey, listen, we're not messing around now. We've had our bye week. We have our injuries. We had our fair share of everything. But San Francisco, they're going to come out 49ers.
So you
minus 6.5.
6.5.
Lock it in. That's my favorite pick of the week.
Yeah, hands down. Yeah. And I mean, obviously, there's a lot. Because, cMAC coming back, such a high caliber player, doesn't just impact the offense.
It doesn't.
But it invigorates the defense.
Yes.
Everyone's encouraged or motivated to play a little harder, right? To play a little tougher. So just by sheer association of having that player back, it's going to be great, right?
It is, yeah.
And one thing that, I want to point out to the AIM squad is every single offensive stat that you see for San Francisco this year is without cMAC.
Yeah, exactly.
Every single one. And in spite of that, San Francisco is second in total yards offense. They are fourth in rushing and fifth in passing and 7th in points. So even without cMAC,
they're still putting up numbers.
They are top 5 offense across the entire league, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. So now you have arguably the best running back coming into the league again.
Yes.
After injury. And San Francisco coming off a bye week, they're not just rushing him. He's been playing limited in practice and ensure that he's ready to go at the time that he is. He's coming out, he's hungry.
Oh, yeah. 100% hungry. Yeah.
He's hungry. Now, in the games that cMAC is playing, he's 19-13 against the spread.
Yeah.
When cMAC is playing, right? So it definitely favors cMAC.
It does.
Now, Alnoor, you mentioned that the Bucs did hold their own against the Chiefs.
They did,
in spite of the fact of not having Godwin or Mike Evans.
Yes.
Right. So they still covered the spread against a undefeated team. But the reality of it is San Francisco is yes, they're injured. Like yes, they don't have Ayuk. Samuel is questionable. We have Kittle. Right, you have McCaffrey, you have Mason, you have Juan Jennings.
Yeah.
You have a more robust offense than arguably the Chiefs do.
For sure.
And I think this is going to be huge. Plus, there's one thing that we haven't talked about just yet, and that is the most important third player on the team, right? And that is Mr. Sean Smith himself. So Sean Smith, let's take a look at how he refs. So
let's see what he likes. Yeah.
So Sean Smith in 2023 home teams. Were 3-13 on the money line.
Okay.
And 4-11 and 1 against the spread in 2023. That means he does not favor the home team at all. He's almost 3 times more likely to favor the away team when it comes to the spread.
Correct.
And if you look at it that was just 2023. If you look at it from a career perspective, he's 39, 54, and 3.
Like
that for against the spread for home teams, which means once again he favors the away teams, either indirectly or directly is one thing, but he definitely has a bias towards the away team. You put the referee in, you put the fact that cMAC's coming back, cMAC's coming back to a top 5 offense without him. He's going to invigorate the defense, and you have a battered Buccaneers at home. 49ers don't want to do the wild card race.
No.
They want to secure. And I believe that this is the start of what will be a continuation winning streak all the way through until they get into playoffs.
Yeah.
So, my brother, I'm calling with you. 49ers minus 6.5.
All right.
Lock it in.
Let's go. We got the same one here. 6.5, first window. This is going to be fun to watch. I'm excited. But what now leads us to our second game of the week.
Yep.
Second game of the week, we all have to wait till the third window, which is Sunday Night Football. Primetime game. We got the hottest team in the NFL right now, the Detroit Lions versus the Houston Texans, who haven't surprised anybody. We knew the Texans were capable of. They're leading the division. Yes, they're banged up too. This has been the new trend in the NFL where just players that are, holding their team down and showing them new teams, new faces are just getting injured.
Such as football.
Such like Nico Collins, had a career year last year.
Yeah.
And then first 3 weeks he got injured.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs
Same
left
thing.
Buffalo, came here, was like, hey, I'm going to have CJ Stroud's back. We're going to put on a show. They did. Injured. Tank Dell also got injured too. Nixon for them too got injured early too, right? So they have a lot of injury prone there, but the spread is opened up at minus 3.5 for Detroit. 3.5. Now you say the hottest team in football right now favor only 4 on the road. Well, let's not forget Houston has not lost a home game this season. They're 4-0.
Yeah.
They're 4-0, and Nico Collins might even come back this week to play.
Yeah.
If Nico Collins comes back, that's another weapon for CJ Stroud to throw. A little bit more difficult for Detroit to cover on the defensive side, but hey, Detroit's been finding a ways to win football games.
They have been.
And we're gonna start backwards here, like we said the last game we ended off with the referee. We're gonna start off with the referee here, Mr. Third team on the field.
Yeah.
We got Bill Vonovich here. Bill Vonovich, he's 42, 54, and 4 against the spread for the home teams. So once again, we have another referee who does not like the home team.
Yeah.
It's not as much as Sean Smith. It's more so where here he kind of evens it out.
Yeah.
If you go back in 2018, since 2023, he's 5-10-2 for the home teams cover it. So right there, 50% of the time, it's not even, it's like 50% of the time, he's more likely to just the whole
Yeah,
team.
that was his record last year with 2023.
So he doesn't like Houston basically in this game, respectively. But then Houston doesn't like playing night games. Houston playing night games, they're 0-2 this year covering the spread. 0-2. Yes, they are injured. Yes, they have players that are not able, they're not there. CJ Stroud has a game, but under these bright lights of Sunday Night Football, Houston just can't play. And then you have Jared Goff on the other side as well too. Houston since 2003 are 12-30-1 against the spread in night games. Let me repeat that. 12-30-1 against the spread in night games since 2003.
That's crazy.
So Houston just cannot cover the spread. They don't know what's going on, what's going to hit them. And then you have the hottest player too, Jared Goff, coming in. Jared Goff in night games is 20-12 straight up, and he's 20-11-1 against the spread.
Yeah.
So you have a quarterback who's 20-11-1 against the spread.
Who loves primetime night games.
And then you have a full team who's 12-30-1 at night games.
Yeah.
I got burned by Detroit last week.
Yeah.
Against Green Bay. I'll take it right now. Detroit -3.5. They're gonna come out Sunday night, blow away this Houston Texans team.
Yeah.
They're gonna show them, hey, if we make it to the Super Bowl and you guys somehow beat Kansas City and Baltimore, maybe even Buffalo in there too. Hey, we're putting that we can beat any team in the NFL. AFC East, AFC North, NFC West, South. Doesn't matter where you're from.
Yeah.
You can come from across the world. You can go from Europe because right now Detroit's playing the hottest football and they can just beat anybody right now.
I agree. I think it's some solid, well-rounded football.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Like
running,
everybody, yeah.
Everyone's involved. You know, running is on point. You have two running backs who can arguably both be starters.
Yeah.
Right? Both holding it down. You have a wide receiver core that's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
You have a tight end that is waiting to be utilized, Sam Laporta. And you have a quarterback who, like you said, is playing some solid football, who loves primetime Monday night games.
Yeah.
This is a very, very well-rounded team.
This is going to be a fun game to watch, too.
It will be, 100%. And one thing, Alnoor, you mentioned, the Texans have not lost at home, but the Lions have not lost on the road.
Yeah.
So someone's taking a loss.
Someone's
taking a loss this Sunday, and I think this is what makes it exciting, right? Obviously, Jared Goff playing stellar football when it comes to primetime in his career. Obviously, as a franchise, Texans not doing too hot. But with the return of, potentially Nico Collins, it might change a few things up. And, of course, the defense for the Texans is a little bit sharper than the defense for the Lions. Their offense, I think, you have a more powerhouse offense in just terms of points production from the Lions. Better third down percentage, better rushing yards, which we touched on. But overall, I think where the big difference maker is the combination of everything, right? The fact that the ref does favor the away team a little bit more. The fact that Goff is, as strong away and covers the spread more likely. And the fact that the Texans just simply don't. So I think a lot of it combined together, I think leads us to say that, I'll probably be riding with this one.
Yeah.
Detroit -3.5, man.
Yeah, hottest team in football. Like they're gonna come on and show out. Like
that's what it's gonna be.
Like just right now, you can't go against them. Like if you're gonna lose, you go with them and you lose and you take the chin. But
that's it.
Don't take the risk to go against them.
No.
I learned the hard way, and I'm not gonna do it again this week.
Exactly. I mean, Detroit's a stellar team that way. So, I mean, you heard it here. We're both locking Detroit -3.5.
Oh, there's one more thing too for Detroit too. If you really want to say that, if you really want to go in and. The Detroit Lions right now are 40-15 against the spread over their last 55 games since the middle of the 2021 season.
40-15.
Against 72.7%, they cover the spread in mid-season since 2021. Since the middle of 2021, they played 55 games. In those 55 games, they've covered 72.7% of the time. I
mean, from a sheer probability standpoint,
like
I'm calling that spread.
Like that's straight up. Like they might even come on and win by like 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
From that, just from that probability, yeah. I'd put my efforts and resources behind the fact that they'll cover.
They'll cover just
from
sure.
That.
Like ease. Like
just from that.
Just from that. So there you go. So 2 games we have it.
That's it. So -3.5 Detroit. Lock it in. Moving on to our last and final game of the week.
Yes, last and final game of the week. We're going to have to wait till Monday night for this one. We have the Miami Dolphins going into SoFi versus the LA Rams. -1 is the spread currently for the Rams. Irshad, what do you like about this game for Monday?
So this is an interesting game. So obviously we have the return of Tua. He's still trying to find his place after concussion. Concussion's not a broken bone.
Exactly.
It can take some time. We have Tyreek Hill, who though has practiced this week, he is nursing a wrist injury.
Yep.
So you have the wide receiver one hurting a little bit. But at the same token, let's take a look at it. Your defense, of course, it's a stronger defense for Miami. They have to offset the lack of their offense. The offense is a little bit sharper with the Rams. But let's start off with the referee here. All right, so we have Ron Torbert holding it down for this game. Now, Ron Torbert obviously has had reffing experience. He's worked with some of our calls here. He's hurt some of our calls earlier this year.
Yeah.
But let's take a look. When Ron Torbert refs Sean McVay's games, the Rams are 9-2. Now, this is straight up, not against the spread, but it does help that Ron Torbert does tend to favor the Rams a little bit more.
Yeah, he likes the Rams.
Right? Especially given that the Rams offense is the number one beneficiary of automatic first downs with penalties. A lot of them typically are because of pass interference, and Cooper Kupp and Demarcus Robinson are able to draw that each time.
Yep.
And to factor that in, Ron Torbert's crew ranks second in defensive pass interference penalties per game. So you have 2 key players that can actually force defensive pass interference, and you have a referee who's very liberal in giving defensive pass interference. So that's definitely going to help. You obviously have the same notion that the Rams are 9-2 when reffing. And I mean, this is at SoFi.
Yeah.
Right? So when playing at home, the Rams are 5-0 with Torbert reffing.
As favorites, too.
As favorites. Yeah. So now, here's the thing. As favorites, right? As favorites, with Ron Torbert, the Rams are 6-2 against the spread.
Damn.
6-2 against the spread. By sheer definition, that means this game is 3 times more likely for the Rams to cover than the Dolphins to. Now, I get it. Tua's on the upswing. We don't know how things are going to go, especially because he's trying to find his groove again. But that's how I'm looking at it from a referee standpoint. Let's start off there, all right?
But you also have, like, the spread's -1. So, like, even if you go against the spread, it's still an outright win. And,
I mean, at that
like
point,
you said, right, they're 8-0 as favorites with Ron Torbert at the money line.
Yeah.
The spread is a pick-em, technically.
Technically. I mean, with -1, I mean, it's more or less a money line.
Yeah, right. So you're looking at more ways that the Rams are favored to come out and either cover and win, too, right? So...
And see, that's the thing, because now you look at it from that angle, you have a more likely chance for the Rams to win, Rams to cover, and I get it's -1.
Yeah.
But then on the opposite side, you look at Tua. Okay, so Tua, obviously, we know he's struggling, injuries and such, but he's also struggled in his career in night games.
Yeah.
So in his career, he is 3-9 against the spread in night games, and has lost 5 consecutive starts against the spread in night games. This includes going 0-5 straight up and 1-4 against the spread as an underdog.
Damn.
So, history says one thing. Now, this is history with an injury. You have history with a quarterback injury and a wide receiver injury. So this is completely a bigger problem than this could actually be for the Dolphins. Okay? Now, when you look at it from McVay's side of things, they are 11-7-2 against the spread after a divisional game, and 12-18 against the spread after a non-divisional game.
Yeah.
Now, who did they play last week?
Seattle.
Exactly, a divisional game,
which went to OT.
Which means the likelihood for them, they're falling within the former record, which is 11-7-2.
Yeah.
So they're almost twice as likely to cover. Now, as a duo between McVay and Stafford, they are 26-8 straight up when listed as favorites. And in this case, they are a favorite, so almost 3 times as likely to win. Sean McVay as a coach is 20-16-2 coaching night games in his NFL career, right? Now, when it's short rest, which isn't the case right now. It isn't the case right now. But when it's on extended rest, granted, he's 10, 11, and 2, so I'll give him that. So he's about 500. But you have the ref going for him. You have a battered Dolphins team. But the notion here is that McVay also has had great success at home, where he's 6-4-1. So overall, McVay, the refs, Stafford all have a high ceiling. The floor for Tua is very low. They're injured, they're battered, and the refs also bias the away team in this case. And then to add insult to injury here, Miami is 1-4 against the spread in their next game after facing Buffalo. Failing to cover the spread by over 9 points, which means by this definition, Miami's slated to lose by at least 10.
By 10, yes. Correct.
So, all to say, Alnoor, I'm putting my bet into this, and I'm calling Rams -1.
Ooh,
are you riding with me, or are you going to make your split? What's your thought?
After everything you said, it looks towards Rams -1. Like, you have the referee favoring them. You got Sean McVay and the Stafford duo. You have teams like how you said Miami after Buffalo that just can't cover the spread, and Tua is just Miami hasn't found their form. But let me tell you one thing, Irshad, here. There's the Rams last week. You said played Seattle.
Yeah,
they were down almost 10 points in that game, and they came back. There's a stat here that teams that are coming back after a 10-point comeback in their previous game are 79, 99, and 1 against the spread in their next game.
Okay.
So as a stat there, it's 44% chance that they will cover in their next game. Now, that being said, that's not the only factor that's going to allow Miami to win. Because you got OBJ and Jalen Ramsey coming back to SoFi. They've played with the Rams. They know the Rams playbook. Sean McVay was there when they played and went to the Super Bowl. So, and they won the Super Bowl with them too. So you have a side there where you got two players knowing the playbook, the offense and the defense on both sides, coming in with this deployed Miami team that needs a win. If Miami does not win this game, their season is done. A primetime game against LA, they need to show that they are still a Miami Dolphins team that's a threat to the NFL, to everyone around, and they're still able to compete. Because I feel if they don't win this game or don't do anything, the season is over. They may have to just rebuild the whole team.
Yeah.
Fire McDaniels. Might have to trade away Tyreek Hill. I think still to this day, Tyreek Hill made the worst decision to go to Miami.
Oh, God, yeah.
Should have stayed in Kansas City. And Kansas City's laughing right now saying, hey, we're still better. We don't need you. So there's that. But there's also time where streaks are broken.
Yeah. Where
teams need to come out and just, it's too good to be true. A team, how you were saying, Irshad, that is favored by the referee, is 8-0, money line, 6-2 against the spread, against a Miami team that does not know how to play football, forgot, and the spread is only 1 as a pick'em. Would you not at least see the Rams being favored by 3, at least? By a touchdown?
Yeah.
Because even you were saying too, right? Potentially the Rams should be winning this game by 10.
Yep.
Because they covered the spread. But why is the spread 1? Me personally, I think this is a trap game. I think everyone's going to lean towards it. The stats are all out there. My brother, there's always one game we go against each other. And I'm sorry to tell you, but this is the game we're going against. Monday night, Miami needs the W. I'm going with Miami to come out right. Forget the spread. It's +1. I think Miami comes out and wins this game because they need it more than the Rams.
Yep.
Because the Rams go ahead after they play 3 division games in the next, 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And that division that they're in, all the teams are tied or it's a 1-game difference. So I feel the Rams can afford to lose this game, giving the opportunity for Miami to make a playoff run, with the Rams still playing 3 division games, winning at least 2 out of the 3 there, they can still win the division and make the playoffs. So we have it there. I'm taking Miami +1. My brother, you're taking Rams -1. There's always one game where we have to go against each other.
That's it.
It just sucks that we have to wait till Monday to watch this game and see.
And that's going to be a good game. I mean, Monday primetime, so we'll have to wait it out, but it'd be worth it. So at least up until all of Sunday's games, we'll be kind of rolling with this together. So to sum up, we got the 49ers versus Tampa Bay. Both Alnoor and I are calling 49ers -6.5. Next, we got Detroit versus Houston. Alnoor and I are both calling Detroit -3.5. And then we're calling for the Miami and the LA Rams game.
We're against.
We're separating. Ulner's calling Miami +1.
Yeah.
I'm calling Rams -1.
Yep.
And those are your free AIM Sports Game of the Week picks. You guys can lock in, either parlay it, straight picks, do what you need to, but definitely, have fun doing it, because it'll be a fun Sunday, which gets us into our next segment of the show, which is the anytime touchdown bets.
Yes.
So this one might be a pretty simple one.
But we started off the show with this for our Sunday Night Football.
We did.
It's the Week 10, the return of CMC.
It's the return of the Mac.
It's return of the Mac. The cMAC. It's return of him. It's all going to be about him. He's finding the paint. Like we said earlier, too, both have San Francisco covering the spread.
Yeah.
They're going to give it to cMAC. They're going to make him a workhorse. He's finding the paint. For me, he's finding. I feel so good finding the paint.
Agreed. I think this is going to be super simple. Anytime touchdown, cMAC, lock it in.
1.33 times a unit.
Easy money.
Easy money. Just get some change back there, too.
He's been making up all the time that he missed off.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Next we got our fantasy.
Yes.
So we'll hop into our fantasy. So our QB, we're anticipating a shootout.
Yep.
We're picking Jared Goff.
Correct.
Simple as that. Over-under is very high. He's going to be shooting a lot, throwing a lot, especially against the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot. Next, we have a running back. We already talked about it. Return of the Mac, cMAC.
Correct.
And Saquon after last week's
show. God damn. And you're playing a Dallas Cowboys team that's deployed. They don't even know. They have no identity.
Yeah.
Saquon's running all over them.
Oh, for sure. A depleted Cowboys defense, and the team as a whole.
Yeah,
you got to have Saquon
all over them.
Through and through. And one of the things we're hopping into wide receivers, we're picking DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
He started to show some signs of brilliance from Mahomes.
Yeah.
Could be a good 1-2 connection, so keep an eye on that. Next is Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. We got Aaron Rodgers' favorite target. Yeah, Devontae Adams is there. You're playing an Arizona team indoors.
Yep.
Arizona's nitty-gritty. They like to, stay close, play that defense. But I think Aaron Rodgers is going to, trust his safety blanket in Wilson, get a whole bunch of yards, find the paint. I think he's going to lead the league in fantasy points, too.
I agree. He's definitely going to be a top wide receiver this week, which brings us to our tight end, and that's from the Vikings, Hawkinson.
Yes.
Obviously, he's been playing some stellar football as a tight end. Tight ends have been a hit or miss this year. Hawkinson has been steady for the most part.
He just came back, 2 weeks ago? So
he's been doing some solid football last 2 weeks.
He's been blocking. I think he gets rewarded this week against the Jaguars.
I think so.
Who just don't even know, themselves who they are.
Yeah.
They're benching Trevor Lawrence for Mac Jones. That team is deployed. I think Minnesota's going to come back, find Hawkinson. There you go, tight end.
And that's it.
Which leads us to our defense.
This one, we spoke about it already with Saquon,
Yeah.
but it's going to be against a very significantly depleted Cowboys offense. So we think the Eagles are going to shut them down. Dak Prescott's gone. Even when he was here, there was nowhere to be seen. CeeDee Lamb is still injured, or is he injured?
With Cooper Rush coming in, I don't know what
that
team
connection's going to be there,
I don't know what team we're going to get with the Cowboys.
Yeah. Running game is non-existent.
I think the Eagles are just going to come on and be like, hey, listen, you guys go golfing early. We'll see you next year.
Yeah, we're just going to lock you guys down.
Which leads us to why football's called football. You got to kick the football.
That's it.
Tell them who's our kicker.
And then you got the Falcons and Saints game, indoor game. We think Koo's going to definitely be the difference maker there. So stay tuned for him. He's probably going to pick up quite a few points, probably back and forth a little bit. But Koo will be the difference maker going forward. So you heard it here, fantasy-wise. Jared Goff, cMAC, Saquon, DeAndre Hopkins, Garrett Wilson, Hawkinson, Eagles, and Koo.
There we go.
So that's the fantasy component. And now to Alnoor's favorite part. Actually, one of my favorite parts, too.
Our favorite part.
Our favorite part is the three-leg parlay.
Correct.
So, Alnoor, what do we got for a three-leg parlay?
Ooh, this three-leg parlay is fun. I'm excited for this one. Let's just get it started right off the bat. We got the Buffalo Bills going into Indianapolis. We got James Cook over 50 rushing yards. This sounds easy. I think Allen is going to feed the football to Cook. He's going to run up and down them. And Buffalo's a team that likes to, slow the game down. Waste clock, James Cook, 50 rushing yards. We find that easy. I love it, which leads us to a guy who just loves catching the football here.
Yeah.
Tell him, Irshad, who loves catching the football here?
Honestly, we got Justin Jefferson, Mr. JJ, 75 yards.
Mr. Money JJ.
Always. 75 yards is actually a conservative amount for him. Yeah. He's been averaging a little bit higher than that.
We even did this last week, too. He got it in the third quarter.
You called it, too.
Right?
You sleep early.
Yeah.
Sleep early. And we think he's going to do that all over again. Hot hand. He's the undisputed wide receiver one. This is going to be super easy. maybe Hawkins is coming back, so there might be some share happening. So maybe don't go to sleep just yet.
Yes.
It might be a whole game, but he's definitely picking up the 75 yards, which leads us to our last leg.
So last leg here, we got the LA Chargers, J.K. Dobbins. We got J.K. Dobbins, who's having a career year right now. We have him over 59.5 rushing yards. So we have 60 rushing yards from him against the Tennessee Titans, who, again, just don't know what they're doing in football right now, too. They're just there. They have a quarterback. They're just not there. But they're 11th. They give up the 11th most rushing yards to opposing teams. And J.K. Dobbins has only rushed for under 50 yards 3 times this season out of 10 weeks.
Yeah.
So 7 out of 10 weeks, he has more than 50. We're going for 59.5, which is his line, which is doable for the J.K. Dobbins, and the Chargers. Like, they're a run-heavy team, even when they had Eckler.
Yeah.
So we have all three together. So we got James Cook, 1.35 times a unit, over 50 rushing yards. We got Money JJ, over 75 receiving yards at 1.43 times a unit. And J.K. Dobbins to have over 59.5 rushing yards, which was 1.9 times a unit. And you put all three of them together, which gives you a healthy, juicy, fun 3.71 times your unit.
Hey, that's a solid parlay in my book, I think.
I love this one. This is amazing. I think this is going to hit.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to be posting all of our picks. We're going to be posting all of our parlays. This is going to be a good look. So definitely tune into our socials. But there you have it, folks. You have our Game of the Week picks, where Alnoor and I rolling 2 together. One is going to be separate. We have our Anytime TD, Return of the Mac.
Yes.
You have our 3-leg parlay. We James Cook rushing, JJ 75 yards, Dobbins rushing, and then we had our fantasy lineup.
There you go.
Goal is to get above 100. So there you go, folks. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes, we appreciate all you listeners, everyone out there supporting the AIM squad, part of our family, part of our team.
That's it. We hope you guys are enjoying listening to us. Definitely subscribe, follow, and of course, bet what you can afford. Have fun, gamble responsibly, and definitely tune in for Week 11.
There you go. Get your popcorn ready, and let's watch some football.
Yo, tune in Sunday football. We got a game each window. It'll be fun.
Let's go. AIM squad, we here, we out. See you next week.
Peace.
Peace.